Wagwan, Mr. Maps.
Yo, what it do, what it is.
What it is, big man. Are you alive and kicking?
I'm alive, man. I'm alive. I'm happy.
So, as you can tell, my volume is up because apparently last week I was doing my thing where apparently I'm talking with my bedroom voice. So my volume is up. So I actually I realized what happened subconsciously last week. There was someone else in the room while I was recording. So I think it's not that I didn't want to be too loud for them in the same way she didn't want to be too loud for me. So yes, Tabo. Why are you being weird, dog? Like,
no, I don't know your situation. I don't know your personal life. I'm curious. Who is she, bro?
Why are you being weird? So I decided to up the volume this week.
Is she still around?
Around, but in a different room. So I'm trying to up mine this time around.
I guess we're not yet there, but we're gonna build up to a point where we'll tell everybody that the wedding really wasn't mine. It's him. me. It wasn't about me, guys. But anyway, we're not there yet. We're not there. We're still mid-season. Season finale. I got Figgy where it's the big mind fuck. Where it's like,
Relax. No, we're in the zone, Mr. Max. In the zone.
Okay.
Although I think the Panache posted something saying when you get a text from your crush and you're getting married that weekend.
Hey man, it be like that sometimes. The streets are cold. But let's get straight into it, guys. Welcome back. It is another episode of 6 Foot Weights, your number one leisure podcast. My name is Tawu.
My name is Senna.
And we're back again. To do the damn thing, It's your favorite hour with your favorite cheese boys. A lot to get into. Still revisiting a couple things from last week that we didn't get into. New things. We'll say we've got some football chat, Mr. Moy, that we need to get into football news. But we'll leave that towards the end. We've got a hilarious Siazama. I think a couple Siazamas. So it's a packed show. We need to get through a lot. We need to chew through quite a bit of information. But I'm trying to see what's the best thing to start with. You get when you have a lot of topics and you're like, okay, what's a good place to enter? I think we can start here. So I don't know if I sent it to you guys. I sent it to you and Paul. So Dave Chappelle got attacked at one of his shows sometime last week, and some dude literally got up off the front row, got onto stage. Dave Chappelle thought he was gonna do something cute or try to grab the mic or I don't know, something, but obviously he wasn't expecting what came. The guy literally speared him, a spear that Goldberg could be proud of himself. And next thing, security came running on. They stomped the nigga, they beat the shit out of him. And obviously Dave had jokes. He handled it the way that it was the most perfect Dave moment ever. Like, when you think a celebrity, right? You think, anybody would do this. He did exactly what everybody thought they would do. He cracked a joke that was very inappropriate. He was all smiles about it. He was even in a moment where it's like, bro, you've just been attacked. Like legit. It's not staged, But even in that moment, he was still composed enough to let jokes fly and keep the show moving and all this other shit. So anyway, it was a whole circus. But I wanted to get your thoughts, and then also one thing to kind of peg the discussion on. Do you think that this is a door that was opened by Will Smith?
Where people start attacking comedians?
Yeah.
I'm I'm not. I think it might be slightly far fetched to say Will Smith opened the door, but I do think Uguti there's becoming a bit of an intolerance towards comedians and people taking chances, and whatever. You know, it builds up when. I think I said this when we last talked about Dave Chappelle's last special. People have become almost a bit too thin-skinned.
Yeah.
When taking jokes on watching stand-up comedy, then someone will say, "Oh, it was just a joke," and then think piece and blogs and articles are written about how it's offensive. It's not this. It's not that. That I don't know the full story about why that guy stormed the stage. It might have just been like a hooligan, like pitch invaders in football.
Yeah,
like just a random guy who decided, let me just have my 5 seconds of fame, or whatever. But if it was someone who took offense to a joke, I think we're getting to a point where I think we need to start taking ourselves a little less seriously as people. You know, jokes are jokes, right? No one means it in a malicious way. It's just meant to tell jokes, bro. Like, people make fun of black people, niggas, and people all the time, like different races.
You said black people and niggas.
Yeah, there's a difference. There's a difference.
What's the difference?
You guys should check out the Chris Rock special on black people versus niggas. Right? There's a difference between black people and niggas.
Okay.
Niggers have a way of acting which, as black people, we also were like, chief.
This is not too much.
Yeah, like the example he gave was someone saying, "Nah, I pay for my child's school fees," or something like that. Like, dude, you're supposed to do that. Or like, I ain't never been to jail. Like, bro, it's expected that you don't go to jail. So there's a difference between black people and niggas. But anyways.
Oh. Okay.
We've reached a point now where I think people are very quick to take offense. People are very quick to get into their feels. We see it a lot on social media. It's not helping. I think it's making us... If you have anxiety, social media will just make you more anxious. The world's already fast. Things are happening quickly. And I do think, for the most part, what you get nowadays is just trigger reaction. Try to find my pain point in something that you've said. Maybe it's just funny, Sometimes I hear a joke about something that relates to me, and I'm like, Zimbabweans are like this. People from blues are like this, and then I laugh. I'm like, actually that's funny. Ndebele people are like this. It's actually funny. And it comes with just having a good sense of humor. And I think we're losing it slightly as a society, because a lot of things are now, a lot of value has been placed in us virtue signaling and taking offense and being social justice warriors and fighting for causes which maybe aren't even in that same context with which a joke is being told. Someone would tell a joke about, I went to Africa. Damn, that place is dusty as fuck. Making fun of the socio-economic struggles of Africa or whatever. Things like that. I could make a joke and say, hey, guys, I can't wear my white Air Forces in Zim. And it's like, hey, you're making fun of the state of the country. But sometimes as Zimbabweans, that's what we do. We just make fun of our situations and we keep it moving. So I do think we're becoming less and less tolerant. We're losing our sense of humor slightly, and as people, we kind of take ourselves less seriously. I don't know what your thoughts are, Mr. Maps, on people being attacked on stage, on Dave.
I think
specifically.
I think with the Dave situation, I read something somewhere that the person the quote was, "I did it for my grandma." I didn't get that shit, but I didn't read the article, so I don't know. I'd have to go and see with Tikanti what's that person's story. But I think definitely I would trace it back. You can say Will Smith doesn't deserve all credit, but I think he deserves quite a lot of credit, because there's a lot of comedy shows that have happened in the past, right? And I know of different comedians who've spoken about, no, I've been smacked before. Someone has come up on stage and smacked me before, right? But it's usually, for the most part, when they go into the small comedy clubs where it's like 100, 200 people, underground, those up and coming type of items, right? You hear about these things, but you never see a Kevin Hart special where someone tried to attack Kevin Hart. You know what I mean? And this was a huge. Look, it's Dave Chappelle's tour. I think he's touring, and so is Chris Rock as well. And it's like those, I've never heard of a story where it happened there, right? Where it's like millions of what you would think, not thousands of what you would think fans, right, of that particular person. So the reason why I trace it back to Will Smith is just because he did it in a situation where a very large segment of America is watching, right? It's the most prestigious show in acting, right? Or awards show in acting. And, it's like everything is class, right? And then he goes and he does that to the point that people are like, bruh, I'm shook that actually happened. I think it has given people the stones, to try some shit.
And you have a very big population of people that were like, yeah, Chris Rock deserved it, right?
Exactly.
And I'm in that school of thought where you're saying, okay, what do you mean he deserved it? Do we mean that now whenever we go to a place where I reasonably expect the host to crack jokes, I mean, that's why they hire comedians specifically to host these events. That's why you hire comedians to MC, the White House Correspondents' Dinner, for example, right?
Yeah.
If you tell a joke and then you don't like it, and then Susuguma and you go and clap them, what are you doing there? Like, just go sit at home.
Yeah, no, it literally, it's like, no, this is not the time. This is, and which is why those people were like, oh, Chris Rock deserved it. Like, you're literally, justifying someone reacting in a violent way, right? There's no, if as a society we agree with you, this violence is not key, there's no way you can be like, oh yeah, he deserved that. No, he did not deserve to be slapped, let alone on national television. We already, if you don't believe that, then you have issues personally, right? So
I see
which
many
is
people
why
on Twitter that needs to get slapped.
No, true. There's absolutely a lot of people who need to get smacked, but this is not the right thing to do, and that's not the message that we're trying to spread, right? And then now, if you go and you do that, people are going to feel emboldened. If Will Smith can risk his whole career, if I should be able to, smack a comedian who talks shit about black people, or who talks shit about, women, or whatever. I mean, I don't know, whatever the category of offense might be, which we say, no, that's not the way to handle it. But then now, for me, I'm like, this is what I didn't want, where people like with jokes and comedians, I think comedy has to be protected. And at the end of the day, it's those things where it's like, bro, like if it's not your cup of tea, okay, there's different ways to raise awareness to be like, no. Ooh, Dave Chappelle should stop talking about Osmani Bani or doing this or doing that. Like, there's ways to go about it and have a person, change, hopefully, right? We educate. We don't cancel, we educate. And that's what we're trying to do as a society. But then when you go and you start with that's not the way forward, and that's what I'm trying to avoid now, because now, even for people all around the world in different situations, what's going to happen if someone then, how like you said, right? There's pitch invaders, right? Who come onto the football matches just trying to be funny, or just really wanting an autograph from the player and all this other shit, right? Nothing dangerous at all. But then if these things continue to happen, what's going to happen is that people are going to get really, really, really hurt, because everyone is going to assume what? Worst case scenario. That's the problem now. And that's the snowball effect, where now the next time if Dave Chappelle now went to, Philadelphia or DC or wherever he went, the next arena, best believe his security was like, if anyone steps, or now you have to be further back, from the performer. Like, y'all are now 5 meters back when before you used to be really, really close. So like now it's like, it's killing the vibe for other people, a bunch of other people who are like, no, dude, we're fans. Why the fuck are we dying for someone's, stupidity? So these things are now going to start to happen, where even if someone does run onto stage just wanting to hug Dave Chappelle because they're a long-time fan, security is going to, I don't know, who knows, beat the shit out of you. And he's like, bro, I loved this guy, but it's because one person has ruined it for everybody else. So that's where I was like, I was very uneasy. I mean, it was funny. The rest of it, like the way the guy got stomped. Like apparently Chappelle stomped the guy. He comes back to the mic. He's like, yeah, I just stomped this nigga, and I was like, if he presses charges, you've just admitted to. But apparently, there's like special rules or something like that, like where he was legally allowed to beat him up, or something like that. But
you could argue that it's an act of provocation,
self-defense.
So there's a difference between self-defense and provocation, right? So self-defense is you're trying to beat me up, and then in the immediate of you trying to strike me, I push you away and I strike you as a deterrent to you hitting me. But once I've done that, right? Like once I'm sort of obliged to leave you alone. But if I then follow you, or maybe you've been hurling insults at me like the whole time, right? Maybe this is not even self-defense, but you've been hurling insults at me, you've been calling me all sorts of kafir, nigger, whatever. Then I come back and I blixem you, right? Knock you out.
Yeah.
Then you go and you sue me and you open a case to the police and say, no, assault with grievous bodily harm, right? The cops are going to be like, oh, okay, what are the circumstances that led to you being assaulted? And then if there is an element of provocation, I can then allege provocation as a defense. Does that make sense? So he can actually say, I was provoked. This guy beat me up, and then that's, it's a defense. But obviously, its circumstances differ. You have to actually prove the provocation was real, and emotions were running high. But there was a section I was going through like Twitter afterwards, right? There was a section of people that were like, his bodyguards went overboard. Instead of just like trying to restrain this guy.
No, they beat his ass.
They beat his ass. He was a broken arm. His face was all red and messed up.
Yeah.
What do you think about, people who hold that opinion of which they went too far? They should have just held him back, gone him off stage, taken him to the cops or whatever.
So I think essentially at the end of the day, for me, my general belief is that once that individual decided he's going to run on stage to attack Dave, I think you've relinquished all rights to what can happen to you, right? Even if he died, at the end of the day, he's made the decision consciously or unconsciously, you know what? If I die, I die.
Yeah.
Right? And at the end of the other thing is that security has to make an example of it. And I'm happy that they made an example out of him, because it's unacceptable behavior. You cannot, under any circumstances, do that. So they had to make it. I mean, they weaved, but it was like a mob and a.
They weaved it.
So someone put out a tweet. What you could imagine running backstage, thinking you're free, and you run into Busta Rhymes. Because Busta Rhymes was backstage, and everybody knows how big Busta Rhymes is. So now you're getting stomped by Timberland, Liga Busta. You're getting stomped by others who their whole job is to eat Creole and Schwala all day long. And it's like, dude, like did you see the video when they were putting him in the ambulance? That man was fucked up.
I saw a picture. I saw the
bruh, the picture didn't do it justice. You know how like your elbow bends, right? It bends outwards. His was bending inwards.
Shit.
Like that's how bad it was mad. They stomped this on proper. And at the end of the day, normally I'd feel bad, right? Because like, oh man, no, violence is not the answer. But then for me, violence is not the answer stops at if you try to be violent towards me, and then me and my squad decide to stomp you the fuck out, that's on you, bro. That's sorry, that's not my baby. That's completely on you. You chose violence. Right? Yeah. Me, I decided to end it, but you're the one who chose violence. Because he didn't go looking out for someone, is it? He didn't go looking out for...
I personally agree with you in the sense that, these guys hire bodyguards precisely so that they can
go
after them, right? To prevent such things from happening. Nothing happens to them 90% of the time, but then you hire bodyguards because you know something like that can happen. So I mean, if you're gonna
And
jump
imagine being the
comedian on
bodyguard.
stage or a rapper,
Imagine being the bodyguard where some skinny earn has beaten your client, has attacked your client, and you have full license to whip his ass. Bruh, where you know there's nothing this guy can do to hurt me. Because I'm probably 2-3 times bigger than this guy. And literally, my job description says beat the shit out of this. Oh, bruh, I'm sure those guys were happy as shit. I wish I could be in the car on the drive to the hotel after the show with the bodyguard. I'm sure those ones had a good time, bruh, cracking a hella jokes, bruh. Because wow, you as a bodyguard personally, my biggest fear would be, oh, what would happen if someone's trying to shoot my client? Because it's like, bruh, I literally have to die for my client, right? I could get shot, all these things, like worst case scenario. That I'd be scared of. But some dude half my size.
like,
And single four.
Let's make an example.
No, bro. Like literally, that would have been the best case scenario. Those guys won't forget that day for a while because it's like, bro, it was a free beating, bro. For free, bro. For free. But anyway, Mr. Moy, we need to move on because wow, I still can't believe that shit happened. But guys, add us and let us know if you feel like, I want to know from you guys. Do you think comedians can just say whatever the fuck they want? Or do you think if they go too far and someone tries to do something about it, that person is justified to do whatever they think is justified? Let us know at 6 Foot Weights on Twitter. Email us, do the right thing. And then the next thing that I wanted to get into was just a quick sort of philosophical discussion, because I wonder what your position is on this particular issue. So I was watching Billions. I was catching up on the latest season last week. And there's a moment where, for anyone who might not be caught up, I won't mention the names of these characters, right? So I'll put it. I came up with a hypothetical situation, essentially. In the show, right? Let's say, Senna, you did something at CBC, right? You did. Let's say you assaulted a teacher. I don't know, something like that. Like by assaulted, I mean like there was a protest in school. The teachers tried to stop it, and then you literally, aggressively shoved the teacher, and then Dr. Senna assaulted the teacher, right? And then you ideally you would have gotten obviously a beating, but also a suspension from school for 2 weeks. Plus, it would have been on your record, which would have fucked up your opportunities to go to the best universities in the world, right? That's the scenario. But what ends up happening is your dad is rich and powerful, right? So your dad goes, talks to Tomo, like, listen, yeah, A, B, C, D, political talk, listen, let's remove this from Senna's record and, let's move on cordially. So Tomo's like, all right, cool, respect that. Maybe a sizable endowment, you build the next library at CBC, that type of shit, right? And then you don't know about this, right? You feel justified in what you did, and you are ready to pay the price. And you're ready to pay the price for your actions. So your dad goes, glitches the whole thing, and then it just ends. You move on with life. And for everything else, you've been an upstanding citizen, you have solid grades, all that shit. You then go on to be a lawyer that works in public office, and you're taking down the bad guys, right? And you have been an exemplary member of society post high school, right? You literally are doing the good work of the law, right?
Yeah. And
then eventually you discover what your dad did. Like years down the line, you discover your dad covered it up.
Yeah.
In the show, said individual, the center of it, got angry at their dad. How could you do this? That's not right, blah, blah, blah. And your dad goes, hi, son, at the end of the day, right, you made a mistake and it doesn't make sense for you to pay for that mistake. And look at what you've done, Katis. Look at who you are. If I hadn't done what I had done, you would never have gotten these opportunities. You wouldn't be here where you are, being successful, doing the right thing, right? So my question to you, philosophically, would be, do you think what the dad did is okay, given that you've gone and you've done a lot of good in society? Or do you think no matter what Senna turned out to be, whether it was good or bad, what the dad did was wrong?
I feel like it can't be binary about this, so everything will always depend. I think, look, ultimately at the end of the day, if good came out of it, hey, dog, sharp, cool. But under these specific circumstances, I would say yes. Under different circumstances, I would say no. Certain things I don't think can be forgiven very easily. So for example, there's always that philosophical question of which a rape victim gives birth to a child. Does that mean the child is a blessing? What does it mean about the person? No, that person's a rapist. It's not forgiven. I should have said trigger warning before that, but I'm sorry, guys.
I mean, that shit took. I was like, damn.
I should have said trigger warning. Not that. But yeah, certain things can't be forgiven in that sense. So that's why I'll say it depends. But do you share a similar view? Do you?
I mean,
hold a different opinion?
So before you, I guess me and you are generally on the same page with that. So the example that I came up with in my mind, right, is if Chamisa won the next election in Zim, and it turns out that he rigged the election in order to win it. ZANU had won outright, fairly, ironically. So it's fine. Oh, this one, you're not. So you wouldn't lead a prosecution against him once the news comes out. Headline, next turn, and assume Zim is now flourishing. Izinto says Onza now is coming back home, Bichana, starting up businesses. Things are looking, the Zim that we always knew had the potential is starting to be carved out. And then news on the screen, President of Zimbabwe was, the files have come out that he rigged. ZANU should have been the continued rulers of Zim. You're letting it slide.
I'm easy. I'm letting it slide. But here's let me give you actually a true story which a lot of people probably feel more conflicted about, right? I'm not sure if you feel conflicted about this in any of it. In around the 1970s, Joshua Nkomo was leading. I think he was a commander-in-chief of the Zipra forces, the Zipra army, as part of ZAPU. They were fighting, I think, concurrently with the separate ZANU-ZANLA forces, right? Yeah. But they were all fighting against the Smith regime. What then happened, I think sometime in the 70s, somewhere close to Zambia, Nkomo ordered a hit on a passenger airline, right? So they shot the plane down, killed innocent white people. They died, but he would obviously always argue that it was the struggle and the fight for independence, right? That's why they shot down the plane. Over the years, Nkomo, especially in Matabeleland and throughout most of Zimbabwe, he's been celebrated, right? Father Zimbabwe. We look at him as, a man of great humility and stature, and we're like, what if he was president? Maybe the country would be better. Who knows? I don't know. Does the ultimate purpose then sort of excuse him from that? Because it was a terrible act, shooting down passenger aircraft. That's some dark. That's some serious shit. That's some serious shit.
It's a terror attack.
But he'll argue. He even in his book he says it was all in the spirit of the fight for independence of Zimbabwe. And most people
by all means necessary.
By all means, so most people have either forgiven him for that. I didn't know that had happened until I read the book. But when I would you then step back and say, right, Mdala we give thanks. You did what was necessary. Or would you be like, my G, I was fucked.
I mean, that's really a tough one, because obviously all these situations change, right? Because if
Yeah.
your relative happened to be on that plane for whatever reason happened to be on that plane and got shot down in the name of independence, you're gonna feel some type of way about it, you know. And again, I think the rules change in war because in war there'll always be casualties, right? And I don't know. I think I'd need some time to really process and think about it properly to see where I would fall on that in terms of like, obviously, because the other thing is, right, before people, because I know some people will get emotional and immediately jump to be like, no, it's not okay, hey, what. It's like, you have to think about the fact that you don't know what it's like to live in colonial Zimbabwe, right, or Rhodesia. Yes. Right, you don't know the lifestyle, the adversity, you know, the discrimination, everything that those, you know, Zimbabweans at the time went through. You don't know the situation, right? And if you can't relate to those feelings, I don't think you can have a proper view on the situation, because I'll come in soberly, right? Need to know, no, Senna, that was wrong, you know. But then people who actually lived through that, you know, lived in fear and all this other shit that had happened, you know. And like if you're talking like, for example, like in apartheid South Africa, people who had those German shepherds sicked on them, you know, like if you've actually been through that trauma, won't get to shoot that plane down twice even, bruh. You know, make sure there's no survivors. Yeah, twice on a Sunday, because that's, you know, from their point of view and what they've experienced, it really is by any means necessary, you know, the struggle for freedom. And for us, we've literally lived in a free world. We've not been oppressed. Well, you can argue there's some side of things, right? But like for the most part, yeah, we have not really been oppressed. And I think it's difficult. That one is a difficult situation, I think, just to kind of on a whim, you know, see where the moral line is, which is why I you know, lately I've been having a lot of these discussions with my wife, Uti. She's very binary, right? She's a very right or wrong individual. No, baby, this is the way. You know what I mean? Like, this is the right thing to do, or no, this is the wrong thing to do. She's a lot of the time, because again, her organizational skills are on 10, right? So for her, everything fits in a category. Everything must be in a box. You know, she's not that type of person. Whereas I am that type of person. But yes, you can organize civil land, but you know, it just has to be there in the void. It's in the gray, you know. That's
not
how
everything
I am,
is
and
black
I feel
and
like
white, right?
not everything is black. There's too much. There's too much for you to consider to be able to come in. And I honestly think in life, I think the bulk of life is in the gray than it is in the black and white. That's my belief personally in life. There's more things where that I just kind of you float, you drift through, than there are things where you're like, right, gunje, you know. And I think that's where I am with that. But that's definitely an interesting question. There's lots of shit for people to be talking to us about, bro. Because I think these are interesting discussions to be had. So I think, guys, let us know with regards to, you know, Sena's question. What do you think? Do you think, you know, Nkomo shooting down that plane, you know, in the struggle for freedom, is that justified? Add us, email us. Is that something that is justified, you know, for him to do at the time? Or if this is the first time that you've ever heard that story, you know, are you feeling some type of way about Big Man, you know?
You change your mind.
Not looking at you change your mind. And again, that's your example is a perfect segue into the next thing, which is obviously Ms. being Ms. has I want to love dagger sometimes, you know, like not apparently. So one of the I don't know how it is for you, right? So I've always flown into skies. I make it a point, no matter what, even if it's cheaper and makes more sense to fly into H, I make it a point to fly in straight to Bulawayo. Because Bulawayo is home. I want to fly in home because I love every time when the flight touches down, where you jump off and you get there and you see the big sign, Joshua Mkabu Nkomo Airport, and you see the shield, you know? That has always been one of the biggest sources of pride. That shield, bruh, like that lets me know I'm home. I'm in Matland, even though Bulawayo is not its own province, whatever. But you get what I mean, right? Like, that is iconic. For all residents of Bulawayo, I believe that shield means something.
That's usually
it's been iconic
the
and
checking in thing.
Yeah.
Everyone who lands. It's like,
yeah. Exactly. Everyone who lands take a picture of that. And then now, is it Lokuzen? Isimbulana. Is that the Bulawayo Lokuzen?
No, so that's
the sigil that's there now.
Farms. That's the
it's the Zim item.
Farms. Yes, that's the country.
Not even the Skies item.
No. So if you go to Home Affairs, you go to Department of wherever it's the one on your passport. It's the exact same one as the one on your passport.
Yes. Okay. Which obviously, guys, if we read between the lines, that's another big old fuck you from the other guys to Skies, which has been the struggle for us as a city, and I don't even, not even making it like a tribal thing right now. It's literally a city thing, a pride thing about our city, and that it really pissed me off personally. So anyway, for long story short, for anyone who doesn't know, that big sign, if you've ever flown into Bulawayo Airport, is being changed. The one with the shield is now this generic. When I say generic, literally in your mind, if someone said build a billboard that says, is it still Joshua Mkabogo? Did they change the name?
No, it's still Joshua Mkabogo. It's just changed the
so they've removed the shield, and they
no
put
longer
the
that
Zim
Ndebele shield, and it's now just the coat of arms.
Yeah. Literally. Wow.
So first things first, right? So not even looking at it from any form of erasure or whatever, or any of that stuff. I look at airports in South Africa, they all have their own personality.
Yeah.
Wherever you go, which is reflective of the city that you land in, right? So when you walk into OR Tambo, there's a big statue of Oliver Tambo in that arrivals little section, right? World class airport.
Isn't that Mandela?
No, it's Tambo. When you land at OR Tambo, it's Oliver Tambo.
I thought it was Mandela. Yeah. So you're telling me this whole time that big statue at arrivals, that whole oval item,
yeah,
that's what you're talking about, right? When you
walk out and
the big oval
like,
space,
where people are like waiting for you
with the signs.
Oliver Tambo.
Oh, my bad.
It's called OR Tambo International Airport. So they're gonna have OR Tambo there.
The whole time when I real quick, I linked up with Sandra at the airport, and I told her to wait there at arrival. So the whole time I'm like, yo, there's a big statue of Mandela. We'll meet there. And like the whole time, no, like, dude, so I was like one level above. She was on the ground floor. I'm like, bruh, I'm looking at Mandela right now. She's like, bruh, I'm standing next to Mandela. Where are you? I feel so dumb right now. But anyway,
wow, what a wow. So that's the OR Tambo. It's the OR Tambo. I'm trying to gather my thoughts again because I can't believe you thought that. Like, doesn't even look like Mandela, bro.
Hey, listen, South Africa has a hard-on for Mandela. He's everywhere.
Of course.
Bruh. There's random places you go, you're like, what the fuck is Mandela doing here? So I just assumed.
And it's Nelson Mandela.
I never really stared at the statue. I assumed big statue, gotta be one nigga. It's Mandela.
Yeah.
I just assumed it. It didn't even register in my mind that, oh yeah, it is Oliver Tambo.
So
but
it's Oliver Tambo. That's the statue that's there. So each airport has its own personality. When you go to Durban, right, it's the King Shaka International Airport. Everything there is themed around Shaka Zulu and the Zulu Kingdom, and there's just that vibe. And the Bulawayo Airport had that. So you're like, okay, I'm landing in Bulawayo. It's Mkabogo International Airport. Short of having a statue of Nkomo, we've got the shield and the and the picture there, which is reflective of the culture or the majority culture, which is in Bulawayo, right? It's Ndebele people.
For me, the shield just does it for
and
me.
It just I don't need the winning. It looks aesthetically pleasing, right? It gives you feel like okay, this airport has some character.
Yeah.
Once you replace it with the coat of arms being the one that's on our passports and different government departments.
It's some generic shit.
It's a generic government logo, right? You would expect it at the land office, the deeds office, the home affairs, all of that stuff. And I always think to myself, and I'm like, what was the reason? Is it some form of national pride? Is it it gives off the impression of Uguti what we're trying to push this proudly Zimbabwean and nothing else agenda, right? As if some cities have their own personality, right? In Harare, if it's Mugabe Airport,
and that's a good thing.
I'd expect to see different pictures, maybe even a statue of Robert Mugabe. I don't know. If you go to Masvingo,
really, that H-Town item, they should rename it to like Mbuyane International, bro. Like give it.
You have various Shona drawings and whatever, and it's just reflective of the people. Even go to if there's one in Masvingo, you have one there, and then there's a picture of the rocks or whatever. Give it that life, and I feel like once you start doing things like this, you're trying to force this national, maybe not even national pride down our throats. But you're just removing all sense of personality and character from certain buildings.
Nah, it feels like a slight. You see, the problem is, no one's ever going to speak up if they did it in Wange or certain other places, because they're not. There's really two cities in Zim, right? If we're to be honest, there's two cities in Zim that things reverberate, right, when certain things happen. And it's Harare and it's Bulawayo. And right or wrong, a lot of people in Bulawayo feel like the government has systematically tried to strip Bulawayo of its identity, right? There's a very, very large feeling of that, right? And when certain things happen, it's like it feeds into that narrative. And I'm like, if you really cared, right, to be like, no, that's not really what we're trying to do, I feel like you'd go about it differently, right, and have different conversations. But the fact that these conversations are not even being had, and you see the displeasure of individuals, like this is a decision that can be changed. This is something where like, oh, okay, the public really doesn't like that, let's change that. But obviously I don't think it's going to change. I don't expect it to change. And I feel like there would be residents of Bulawayo who are going to feel some type of way when it's like, nah, bro, this shit was dope, and like you said, each airport, literally, if you want to make the airport in Harare, symbolic of what Harare is, when you step into Harare is what they call it, the Sunshine City, and like if you want to lean into that theme, right, do it. And it's like no one would ever be like, hey, how much? Like you need to give people, especially we don't really get that many tourists, right? But still have people come in and be like, oh, I felt like I was somewhere different at the end of the day, because every city, like you said, has a personality. The residents of Bulawayo have a personality. The city of Bulawayo has its own personality. And the airport is the first point of contact for everybody, when you fly into the country. And now if it's some generic, like, oh yeah, I'm in Zim, like the country already has a terrible reputation because we're not in the best state at the moment. And then now you're going to put some generic shit where it's like, bruh, there's Nhlamba that people refer to. Hey, so see how go, like it really does feel like that with that sign now.
It does.
At the end of the day, it's gonna be like, that's gonna be depressing. When the plane is now circling there and you're heading to the terminal, and that's what you're greeted with. It's like, it inspires no hope. It really does. And like, I think it's those two layers. It feels like a personal attack, but then also in general, it's like, I want the country to have its flavor in different ways, because there's so much Zim has to offer. Zim is an amazing country, like just in terms of natural resources and the different things that we have to offer as a country. It's crazy. And if you're trying to mute that to me is like, why are you trying to mute that? Show it off. We need the foreign money, bro. And anyway, like that's definitely something that upset me when I saw, because I genuinely thought it was fake news, bro. I literally thought it was fake news. But Senna, I sometimes look at the notes that I take before an episode. Like we will randomly think of some shit or read some shit. I'm like, it would be interesting to talk about on the podcast. One of my notes here, and I don't even remember what I was trying to talk about, is it says business over backshots, and I don't know what we were meant to be speaking about.
Wasn't that from that thingy, that Dr. Umar video?
Oh yeah. What did he say?
He said something along the lines of, I think he was doing some live, right? And then
some chick was like, I'm trying to throw you cheeks.
Yeah, exactly. And then that's when he went, no, sister, it's business over backshots. and man, I need to look for that because that was actually
business
quite funny.
Over backshots. Yeah, if I find that clip, we'll throw it in. We'll throw it in so that people know what we're talking about. But question to you. I guess I've got 2 relationship questions for discussion here. And do you want the PG-13? There's a PG-13 and then there's the PG-18. Which one do you want to start with?
No, let's start with the 13 and end with the 18. It's fine. You're gonna ask both anyways, right?
Yeah, I'm gonna ask both. And then we can transition we'll do our quick soccer chat, and then we'll transition into CSM. So, right. So what I wanted to find out from you, because obviously there's that tweet that goes around every couple of weeks, right? About I'm at talking stages. And there'll be people who are saying with the 1 year talking stage, 6 months, 2 weeks, whatever. So the listeners of this podcast already know where me and Senna are in terms of what a talking stage is in general, or how long should a talking stage be, right? Senna says 6 months, I say 3 weeks to a month maximum for a talking stage, right? And for me, what I wanted to find out from you, because I was like, someone else on Twitter commented something else, Uti, saying, yeah, even a year is fine. And to me, a year does not make any sense to me, right? But I thought, you know what? Before even trying to come at someone, right, and engage with them, I think the most important thing that you first need to discuss is what is a talking stage, right? So as you are a representative of the cross country talking stage segment of our populace, I wanted to find out from you, Mr. Moyo, what is a talking stage to you? What does that mean? And then once you've explained that, I want you to explain what is a relationship. I think we need to see and hear, ukuthi look hambisa njani, nonsense.
We're having this chat again. A talking stage is a getting to know you stage, right? It's a getting to
I agree
know you, getting to see if can I pursue a relationship with you stage.
Mm-hmm.
It includes going out and experiencing each other's company in different ways. It could be from going to dates, it could be from going hiking, it could be from taking a trip, it could be from spending time with each other, chilling, maybe even sexually, right? It includes.
Nigga said maybe.
Yeah, maybe. I personally angazi. But that's how I understand it. I see it in that regard. In Uguti, it's getting to a point where we're like, okay, do we want to proceed with a relationship and a partnership together officially doing life sisonke? And if the answer is yes, then you notarize that thing and then full steam ahead, right? Now, a relationship, right? What's the difference between dating and marriage? Right? Now you've gotten the government involved and you have... No, wait. No. I'm drawing parallels, right? Okay. When you're boyfriend and girlfriend, you reach a point where you decide to get the government involved and then you get married and then boom, right? You're doing life together. I think it's similar in the sense of which now when you're moving from talking stage to getting to know each other to actually let's put a title and a tag on this. You are my person, I'm your person, we are partners, we're doing life together officially, no doubts, full steam ahead. That's how I see it, right? The conduct will...
Interesting. So to you, a relationship is a marriage before a marriage?
Not a marriage before a marriage, no. Because there's levels, right? Is. You know, you have lemon and herb, you have mild, you have...
Senna,
no.
It's
transitioning.
You literally, when you described a wedding, it's literally almost verbatim the same way you described a relationship. You almost even use the same words.
No. But that's what I'm saying, right? The differences are there. It's not like your relationship with your wife has changed from 1 month ago.
Remove the government. What's the difference?
Nothing has changed. But then you're married,
exactly.
Right? Now, I'm not saying it's a marriage in that sense. I'm saying it's a relationship, right? Because you're now putting the tag of relationship on it. Yes, you may break up, but there's no government involved, right? It's a different level. But in theory, the transition is the same. It's similar. Right? Getting to know each other.
Here's
into a relationship.
So here's where I take the off ramp. There's no way in my opinion. I think a marriage is a level up from a relationship. It should be, in my opinion, right? From someone getting engaged and married, that side of life needs to be the next level. And it needs to be something that you can feel, oh shit, we're not in the relationship stage anymore, right? Yeah. I think everything should be a progression. Yes. And in my mind, I meet someone at a braai, yeah? Oh, you cute. All right, what's your number? What's your name? Blah, blah, blah. You Mac, right? At that point, what is it? It's just physical attraction. Right? Yeah. It could be literally we meet and, it's just a physical thing, wham, bam, thank you, ma'am. It could be that, right?
Yeah.
Or it could be, you know what? It was a fire, chemistry, fire conversation, all that stuff. I want to get to know her, right?
Yeah.
Enter talking stage. Yeah?
Yes.
You guys have each other's tens and you're talking and, it's looking like isn't Zia Pambid. That's a talking stage. And I think within a 3 to 6 week period, right, you can make a decision to say, you should be able to make a decision to say, all right, this person is interesting enough to me that I want to have exclusive rights to this individual. That is a relationship, right? Because a relationship is now the exclusive one-on-one really getting to know you, right? We're putting attraction aside. We're putting the nonsense aside. It's now, okay, who is Senna really, right? I'm trying to unlock this guy and see, right? You don't do that, in my opinion, you don't do that in a talking stage. The talking stage is like, are we compatible? Is this thing, are we vibing? Does this look like this can be a long-term thing? And the reason why I put it that way is because in a relationship, you have nothing to lose, right? If you guys break up, you've got nothing to lose. Relationships are not a big deal. They really, boyfriend, girlfriend does not mean anything besides the value that you put on it. Ain't nobody give a fuck. Boyfriend, it's literally you and your person care boyfriend or girlfriend. Mina Anglanda. It means nothing to me, Zena, that you are someone's boyfriend. You get that? Like literally nothing. There's nothing there. I will have stock, right? Whereas if you move and you marry said individual, that shit means something, right?
I think
everybody else and to the government.
I'll disagree.
That's where I'm like, there's a big difference.
Because I think relationships can have a great deal of meaning even without getting married. Or even before you get married or without ever getting married. They'll still have that gravitas.
They can.
That's why...
No, that's what I'm saying. Okay, fine. Let me amend that. So for the sake of people not debating the wrong thing, fine, I'll amend that statement. UTE relationship can be a very, very big deal, even if you don't get married. The goal, let's not set marriage up as a goal, right? Because some people really couldn't care less about getting married, right? So let's even put the relationship as gold standard for the sake of this discussion that we're having here.
Yeah.
My point is, the real work is done in the relationship. The learning each other is done in the relationship, right? That's where you really figure yourselves out, right? But then talking stage, I genuinely, with all my heart, Senna, I believe Uti, you treat a talking stage wrongly because that you're already in a relationship. There's been multiple scenarios where I've said, Senna, you're already in a relationship, bro. This is relationship trouble because I think there should be a difference. There literally should be a difference in terms of behaviors and attitudes when you go from talking stage to actually being in a relationship. There should be a stark change because it's another level. Talking stage is another level when you go into a relationship. Now, so talk girlfriend, boyfriend, it's another level. Yeah, and that's where I'm like, when you describe talking stage and when you do what you really do in the talking stage, where you are literally relationshiping without the label. And that's where my biggest gripe is with you. You're literally, there's no difference. I can point to another homie of mine who's in a relationship. He's someone's boyfriend, right? And he has a girlfriend. You ones are doing exactly the same thing. And my belief is there should be a difference between Mellow Kanye Uguti Usena is in a relationship and Sena is in a talking stage.
But
I think there needs to be a difference there.
I think the difference. I think fundamentally we agree on what a talking stage is and we agree on what a relationship is. I think what we're disagreeing on is the length of time. Generally speaking, because I think fundamentally I agree with you. It's a different thing, right? Relationship and a talking stage is different, and I think things change.
Oh wait. Okay, can you go back 1 second, really quick? What was your talking stage? What was your relationship? What's the difference for you?
Okay. Let me, because I feel like you attacked me personally. So now I must defend my character.
No, you really have frustrated me.
I must defend my character. Son. Okay, Mr. Maps. As you know, I am currently in a relationship, right?
I didn't know that, but thank you for telling me.
I'm informing you, right? Now, what happened is I met person, we knew each other from way back, whatever, started talking for a period of 6 months, which included going out, hanging out, going on dates and all these things, just getting to know each other. And then when we got to a point where I think we're both comfortable, then we had a conversation and we're like, hey, my guy, listen, let's pursue a relationship. By that point, we both felt comfortable with, oh, listen, I can do life with this person. And then we did, right? Now, fast forward to a certain period of time, couple months into it, we're still like, oh no, that was great. Like we're both on the same page on Uguti. No, that little period of time helped us get to know each other and to trust Uguti. Actually, this is the person I want to do life with. And that's how it is. Now, when you say I frustrated you, I don't think that 6 months counts in terms of it was a relationship. Because we hadn't noticed it was. We hadn't said, my guy, I'm your person, you're my person. We're getting there, but we're still getting to know each other.
But that's the relationship though. The relationship is y'all feeling each other. Because even within the relationship, y'all can agree, like, you know what, it's not working. Let's split up us and go our separate ways. right?
But that wouldn't be...
Okay, quick question.
I think a lot would be at stake.
Quick question.
Emotionally and
So
in other ways. Because of...
We
built up that time to say, okay, no, I got to know you, let's get into this, and then we get into it. Now, a split is not just when you're boyfriend, girlfriend. I think you make it seem like it's just like we decide, so pele, sing hamba. It's not. It hurts. Like, breakups are terrible. They're painful. That's why people don't want to get into relationships, because they don't want that pain and that stress. So
but
that's why
okay,
when
question.
Two questions, actually. When you take the 6 months,
I actually have two questions.
And when we took the 6 months,
your 6 months period, right?
Yes.
Konapa. If you guys decided it's not working, are you trying to tell me you're going to pain lapa?
I'd be disappointed.
Or you're just gonna walk away and be like, it was just a talking stage?
I'll be disappointed, of course. Like, it's not like I'm going to be, okay, it is what it is. But at that point, you're like, okay, I'm disappointed, but it is what it is. A breakup is hard, right? Because it's like, right, just get into this thing. We're now in a relationship, and then after a while, something happens, and then we're like, okay, let's split, right? Then I think that hurts more, because you've made a conscious decision.
And what I'm trying to tell you, Sena, is exactly what you've just said, right? I agree. It's hard. It's painful. Yes. Really, no arguments with me. But what I'm telling you is, you literally would have felt those same feelings by the 6 month mark, right? In this current relationship that you're in, y'all are vibing, things went, honeymoon period, everything, right? 6 months down the line, if y'all decided, or if someone decided, the other person was gonna be cut, and if I'm correct in what I'm saying, ain't no way you can say that's a talking stage. Nobody leaves a talking stage.
Look, you can be
no. You can't leave a talking stage cut.
Well. You can be disappointed.
No. Disappointed and cut are two different things. Disappointed, yes, absolutely. You can leave a talking stage, but man, Senna had so much potential. I'm talking about goishing, bruh. You would be goishing at the 6 month mark if she said, Senna, you know what, ne? I'm not into it. Senna, you would have come to me, you would have been like, bruh, me I'm buhlum. And don't try to deny that shit.
I'm not. I'm literally saying, Uguti, I'm not immune to not having felt anything. If the talking stage would have ended like 6 months in, and then we had a conversation, it's like, actually, my guy, Mina, I'm not feeling it the way you are. But are you telling me that after maybe say a year, right? Maybe we're like now at a year, like 6 months after the actual, after we actually started dating. So 6 months later, a year from when we first started, that it would not hurt more? It would. It would definitely hurt more.
Yes,
so that's
obviously.
What I'm saying. All these things are
obviously it's gonna hurt more.
So even if it was a month, it could still hurt. Even if it was 3 weeks, it could still hurt.
True.
But it's
City talking stage is 3 to 6 weeks. Which is equal pay.
That is too short to get to know someone.
In 2 weeks, it is, and exactly right, Senna, which is what I'm saying. My definition of a relationship is the getting to know someone stage.
Yeah.
So literally, when you realize, you know what, problems.
It's actually thrown up very interesting,
you know what I mean,
philosophical questions, which I'll ask you just now. But it was a chat that I had with someone a while back.
Oh my goodness! No, we have to get into the PG-13 item bit. So if it's philosophical, I feel like philosophical will take time.
So someone actually said, asking me very bluntly, directly, almost as if they were talking to you as a member of my family. Oh, so how long has it been? And I was like, no, probably been about in my head, I was like, no, probably about 7-8 months, right? And they were like, oh, okay, cool. And then like, it's just like 7-8, the way I understand it, the way that you young people understand it. I'm like, well, if you throw in the talking stage, it becomes more than a year. And then they were like, oh, so you've been together for more than a year. I'm like, no, it's not like that. Like, not at all.
You see?
But then, obviously, generations differ in terms of how we define these things. I would define it in a particular way. Someone older would be like, no, it's actually been plus or minus.
So now you're those toxic urns that are showing our Zim Queen's flames. The same niggas are like, no, Dage, listen. listen, we weren't even dating, but it wasn't a relationship. We're just in the talking stage. Konapa, by month number 4 or 5, you were flying the item out, having a best life. I'm taking my handbag. Lani, chick is thinking she's found the provider of the house. Can do sena. She's talking stage. In Denmark. You can't just be doing that to people. I'm literally going to be charming you for 6 months.
I would be better than someone who will then date such person, boyfriend, girlfriend, and then I'm dampe, and then on to the next one, date such person 3-6 weeks, I'm dampe, and then the next one. Bruh, how many it's over conversations are you going to have?
As many as you need. As many as you need to have. My point is, Senna, if you know there's no future, it ends in the talking stage. No one is forcing you to get into a relationship, right? All I'm saying is it does not take that long. Some people need to be serious. Look in the mirror and be serious about life. And think about these relationships. And really analyze. Did it take me 6 months to know this is going to be my boyfriend? See me.
The good thing is,
this is going to be my girlfriend.
When I have a conversation with my person, it's like I understand, she understands. In fact, like my guy, anything earlier than that wouldn't have been right. And I'm like, dog, I wish I could bring you onto 6 foot waist and you tell Tabo this thing you're telling me now. But anyways. So
you know what I know about you and your partner? The fact that you two are conveniently going to leave out is that the two of you happened to meet another individual that is commitment averse. That's the only reason you guys smile at each other and say, yeah, this made sense. Because the two of you were commitment averse. And y'all were like, yeah, no, this makes sense. You just happen to find someone who also shares your train of thought, right? But if you had dated the female version of me, you would have seen flames, bro. Because after a month and a half, I'd be like, hey, my nigga, sinza, siyadlala. Or, because also, this is another thing quickly that I wanted to ask about the talking stage.
Yeah.
Are you exclusive during the talking stage?
Yes.
In general, right? Not necessarily about your situation, but in general, is the talking stage an exclusive period?
In general, many people would say it's not. Mine was just because I just feel like when you're trying to get to know someone, too much noise can distract you from trying to get to know that person.
And that's exactly why will it difference between a talking stage and relationships. And I miss in talking stage, you can do as many people as you want. Because y'all are just talking, y'all are just vibing, bruh. Like, I mean, obviously, it doesn't mean you have to, right? Like you said, you can choose not to. But had you decided to do some shit, you would have never been in the wrong, at least in my opinion, right? I would have been like, hey, Sarah, you're fucked up, because you're just talking to someone, right? Because it can end up, those talks resulted in what? In nothing, right? So that's a different situation, which is why I'm like, nah, it really, you're looking at 2 to 3 weeks, or rather 3 to 6 weeks, where, yeah, you could be texting other hands. And again, literally, it doesn't necessarily mean that you're having sex with a million different people, but you could be having conversations, similar conversations with 3-4 different hands. Every guy knows what I'm talking about. We've been in that phase where, hey, bruh, you've sent a couple good morning texts. Or you've received a couple good morning texts. Like, everybody should understand, especially the hands, right? How many hands are listening to this podcast now? And if you open your WhatsApp now and you have more than, 20 unread messages in your WhatsApp, how many of those are 20 niggas that you're kind of not really feeling him? Talking stage, Len. Talking stage, which is absolutely fine. Ain't nothing wrong with that, right? You're in the field, everybody's in the streets, it is what it is. But the moment you decide, right, target acquired, right? You don't need to. I think the biggest difference between me and you is that when I send you want to have all your research. Like, sharp. I've got extensive research on said girl, Azich. I'm saying you don't even need to have that extensive research because the research period is during said relationship. No, and then, if you decide, I don't like what I see.
You must go on a vacation before you start dating. Then you like. Hamble civili.
Yeah, bruh, spending money on umuntu during a talking stage. But anyway, I mean, the talking stage is really the dream selling period. That's where you, guys, give the keys away to the game. You see these things, you know. Anyway, but anyway, Mr. Boy, if we as we drift in, we need to transition into the PG-13. It's PG-18 question, and it was a discussion that we I was having with some of the boys, and see, I think I can't give the next one away, is it? But the critical question was, is it? Or I'll ask you the question: is it important to you for if you're having sex with a woman, for them to have an orgasm, in whether it's whatever, penetrative, oral, whatever? Is it for not like sex? Yeah, we'll leave it open-ended that way. Is it important to you for them to get theirs?
Yes.
Or yeah.
Yes. No, it's important.
Okay. If you're saying yes, why is it important?
Because I personally take pleasure in that myself.
Okay.
Like it's just something I.
But do you
enjoy.
think, generally speaking, it's the if we leave Senna's preferences for a second, do you think it is a responsibility of a man to make sure his woman gets his?
Yes.
Or is it
I still think it is. I still think it is just because you come into something too. I can't just be the only one who has a good time. I think any selfless human being must acknowledge, oh no, actually I also have a responsibility to make you feel good. Okay.
But do you feel like, as a guy, it strokes your ego?
Oh yes, it does.
Like,
oh yes. 100%. Oh. Yeah.
This guy is literally having flashbacks on the
pod. Yes, it is. It might be an ego thing where you're like, no, yeah, actually, because like everyone, you always want to do a good job. Unfortunately, the way in which kind of always viewed sex is it's something that's done to women, right? Something that the guy does to the girl, and then you both receive pleasure out of it, right? So it's your responsibility to do it to her so that you both feel good, right? Because you're the one carrying the responsibility on your shoulders. If you don't, then you feel like you've failed at something in a way. If you're a person who cares about succeeding at things in general, then you feel like I haven't done well. And then when you do well, your ego kind of get a little boosting. You're like, that was nice. That was good.
I mean, I think it's a very interesting conversation to have, right? Because if you look at the stats,
I almost asked you a very personal question.
Only
you're married now.
I'm a made man these days.
Actually,
coming from left field. Yeah, no, but
it wasn't even like left field,
so
like that. But it was like, it's like quarter to left field. You can edit this out if you're not comfortable, by the way. Right?
Okay.
Right.
Actually, nah. I don't trust myself. I don't trust myself.
You edit out.
I'm gonna leave it. I'm gonna leave it because I don't trust myself.
Okay, fine. Whatever.
Okay.
You ever had an experience where in under 120 seconds things just went south?
Oh, that's hilarious.
It's happened to every guy. It has to.
So a
malfunction. Yes. Let's call it that.
I think, I'm trying to think. Yeah, no, it's happened to every guy.
No, it has.
Yeah, it has happened.
Now,
yeah.
my question,
everybody has it on the transcript.
My real question is in the immediate, right? Because every guy has that on the transcript. I know women don't get, so probably just disappointed. They're like, oh, this nigga, what the fuck? But anyways, I always feel the need to apologize if that happens.
Oh my god! I mean,
like it's like.
Yeah, because I mean, every nigga's hit that. Nah, I'm not even sure what's going on, bro. Like this never really happens. Of which it never really happens. You know, that's the thing that kills me.
But then she won't believe.
Yeah, I mean, like it's like, bro, like, yeah, obviously, because at that point, like, if the hand, you know, is been around, it's like, okay, there's probably another dude that's giving it that speech as well. It's like, yeah. So it's like, bro, like one. You never know when it's gonna happen.
True. Right?
That's number one. Like you're never prepared for it. It's first of all rare. let's start there. let's start there. You know? But like it literally is one of those things where I don't know. I feel like you can't not talk about porn when you have these conversations, because it's like porn has influenced a lot of men and women, right? In terms of expectations. So I think whether, you know, if nothing early or whatever the case might be, could be a normal thing that happens every so often, right? It's not a big deal. The fact that, you know, in porn, you know, man them are doing, you know, 20 minutes to an hour,
Dog.
right? That in your mind, because a lot of people's exposure to sex is going to be porn before actually having sex.
True.
That's the big problem, right? Because obviously we were in high school. The first time that I saw a vagina was in high school.
Phone erotica.
It was on the phone, right? Yeah, phone erotica. Someone came to school, hey, guys, come and see. And there was a white babe, you know, and she was getting had, you know, and it's like that's the first experience that you have with that. And then obviously, the more of it that you see, you're like, oh, okay, so this is the standard, right? And then so the chick must be moaning like this, you know, she must not, you know, 4 or 5 times, like all these things in your mind, you preset before you've even actually ever had sex, right? And then, you know, however many years whether it's high school, college, you know, whenever you eventually have sex, right? How many times have you been exposed to porn? We're not even talking, you know, anyone addicted. Not even that. It doesn't need. No one needs to be dramatic in that sense, right? Just knowing, oh, this is what happens in porn, right? You've had that for so many years in your mind. Whether you've only ever seen 1 or 2 videos, you have those things. People have conversations. You have friends who are already having sex, who are over exaggerating.
Who are probably lying.
Indeed, I want to expose him at CBC, who was out here lying. Saying, hey, I was jabbing this chick from GC. Finish, she was just nutty. What? You know, what's this? Fireworks. Yeah, that's where all the funny stories used to come out. When everyone used to go to, I never got an experience to go to fireworks. My parents are like, sit in the house.
Same.
And play PlayStation.
Same.
So me, I never went to fireworks. But then we'd come to school on Monday.
Bro, I'd have FOMO for days.
I'd have stories for days. Listen, bro. Me, when I tell you, I was like, ha.
My mother used to lock the gate at 6.
You know, like fireworks sounded like it was a mission.
No. My mom would lock the gate at 6, and then all these guys would come back with, oh, bro, bani, hey, at the back of the whatever. And I'm like,
hey, in the back of the whip, bro. Hey, what?
Damn. The funny thing is, then you meet all these girls later on in life, and they were like, oh, no, the first time I did it was at university. And you're like, so all these stories
exactly.
From who was lying, bro? Either you're lying now or they were lying then.
Exactly. It's like, bro, me, you're talking to her, I'm like, bro, personally, I know that you've caught 4 bodies. My records reflect.
My records 4 from bodies. High school reflect.
So what are you talking?
I think some people actually need to come to us.
Exactly.
In the DMs, Westbuzuguti, Chief, allegedly in the streets, but me now, how many do I have? Because Monday morning.
nah, come through, brother. Especially if you're within our year, we can tell you, because the stats are out there, bro. So if you want to know who's lying about you, pull up the tab, right?
So
your rep is wild out there. Because there were certain people, and there were certain stories that were exaggerated around certain people. I'm like, there's no way this happens. Like,
and then you're just like, bruh, like you can't be. Like, there's no person who's like this, like in life. But I think guys would take liberties and they'd defame like a lot of women in high school.
No, dude. There was a certain house party, in Burnside. That's all. Those are the only details I'll reveal about said house party. I didn't go, obviously, because
SDA parents.
But what the stories that came out of that particular house party? Like, I remember sitting at school and I was like, yo, like, because it was hyped up, right? The week leading up to it on the weekend. I think the girl's parents were like out of town or something, but like she was throwing a house party. And, Giza talking about it. Hey, guys, are we pulling up? Hey, get alcohol. Hey, guati. And I'm sitting there and I'm like, bro, how do I even get out of my own house, bro? Like, do I jump the electric fence? Like you think about these scenarios and what you really out, there's no hope, bro. I think at some point that even like just on the day, I sat on the dining room table and I was like, wow, this is really just going to happen. And I'm sitting at home. And then I was like, you know what? It is what it is. It's probably going to be a flop, right? Go about the weekend. Come to school on Monday. When uns are waiting for you, when you get out of your car and you see niggas with the biggest smiles. And you're like, la. Bruh, uns are giving you the rundown. And I'm pretty sure 60% of those stories were absolute lies. I think
more than 50.
Bruh, that party was described as Project X. It's the script to Project X. That's literally what that party was described to me as. Like, and to this day, I refuse to believe it really happened that way. There's people on the group who were at that item. This is that some of the thingies,
you can't.
Actually,
the thing is, unfortunately, back to what we're actually talking about, that was most of us' first exposure to anything sexual. Friends telling us these crazy ass stories that would happen at these crazy ass parties, which we never went to. Friends coming and showing you videos in class or sending them to you or whatever, or ETV, and you're like, your expectations are already, at an all time. Then when the actual thing comes, pun intended, it's like,
well done. Well done. I'll give you that one.
But when the actual,
that was a successful
we give thanks.
Arrival.
We give but generally speaking, once you get there, once you're at that vibe, in real life, it's different, right? Expectations, it may not be the way that you think it'll be, or you've grown up thinking it'll be. And that's just how I think our views on it are skewed.
Yeah, no, I think that I completely agree. As guys, we in high school, that was some of the most destructive years for us with regards to sex that I can think of, because of literally the unknown, right? Like you've never experienced this, you don't know what to, how to go into all of this. And I think high schools really should get people who talk to guys about this type of stuff, rather than have us discuss amongst the boys, because that's the worst thing to do. But yeah, those type of things where now you don't know how to react when it's like, okay, if it happens, you're not right. Yeah. Next round. It's really that simple, right? But now, you have to come up with excuses. And it's long, and I don't think that's.
And then now you must apologize, because
at the end of the day,
Miguel has been watching Johnny Sins doing the most there by that other website. And now when you come,
Willie Caballero,
when you come and you're like, "Ish, Johnny Sins did all that stuff," and then when you're coming, you're explaining, "With no, I'm sorry." because you just feel, I'll speak for myself. Sometimes you feel the need to apologize for, malfunctions such as that.
Yeah, no, because it's unless if that's you, that's your spillion, then obviously don't apologize. That's who you are, innit? But Tinaba, it's literally, like, hey, my bad, dog, right? Then yeah, you will apologize, because also the thing is, hands don't help the situation, because they'll give you that look where it's just disappointment, and then it's like, fuck, she's like, nigga, you fucked up, but she doesn't say it, but she gives you the nigga, you fucked up face. Or the worst ones are the ones who do that. You're like, no, it's okay. I'm like, nigga, it's not okay. Nigga, don't be talking to me like that. Like, don't give me the speech. Or nah, don't do that me, bro. Like, I'm not trying to,
I'm trying to hear that
energy. But anyway, Mr. Moy, let's move into there's no time for football. But quick thoughts, Erling Haaland, Manchester City, what do you think?
It's I hope he flops. To be honest.
It's massive.
I hope he flops, dog. Because ultimately, what we have is a league that City are going to win with a crazy points margin again. Liverpool have pushed them.
I don't think so.
You don't think they'll win it?
No, but you know what? At some point, it starts to become diminishing returns, right? So at the end of the day, even if you get the all-stars of Europe, right, there's a certain, output level that they're going to hit, right? Where now all of that talent on the team just it doesn't matter. It's not going to go over the top. So yes, Manchester City can run roughshod, but they're still going to have, the human element to deal with, which is they're going to be so good, and there are going to be times it's like, oh man, we're playing Burnley, man, Fulham, you know what I mean? Like, so there's going to be those games where it'll be the odd draw, or like the odd loss, right? And the great thing about a league competition is that every team only plays Manchester City twice.
Yeah, so you can get better.
Yeah, so Liverpool, theoretically, if they're the same team, right, in terms of the success they've had this year, they can still challenge for the title.
Yeah.
I don't think this really changes much at the end of the day, because Liverpool was right there with them, and City has barely lost any games. If you look at their record, they probably have about three L's. They have 3 right? L's, and then maybe 2 draws or something like that.
3 L's and 5 draws.
And Liverpool has a very similar record. I was
checking this out today.
Yeah. So what are you trying to say? Out of the 5 draws, maybe 2 of them would be wins? Maybe.
Convert some of those to wins.
So I think it doesn't really change much. City is already operating at an efficiency level that is world class. That is historic. So it's not adding a magnificent player like Haaland. I don't think is going to, it's not like you're playing. Liverpool's not going to play City 38 times in a season.
True.
You're playing them twice.
But
play the odds. Just be like, no, let's beat everybody else. We'll lose to City. That's 2 L's. But then if we beat everybody else, we win the league.
True. No, look, it's going to be a great signing for them. For the Prem, I guess.
For the Prem.
Everyone else just needs to step up their game and not think it's just going to be, easy coasting. Liverpool need to get serious about investing. Yeah. I think all their forwards are 30 years old now. They gotta start trying to get new life into that. Luis Diaz has been great, but you gotta look for other options too. United are a mess, and the mess was beyond any of the managers even Solskjaer wasn't even a problem. I think I always said that, but they need to sort themselves out. Chelsea,
you guys need Jesus, man.
I don't even think it'll be that bad. It's just get proper footballing people behind the scenes. What we've been doing, I think it's been Disneyland or Woodward and co. What they've been doing was a mess. Chelsea, Tuchel's going through a divorce. Asa's going to get Petangani because it seems like he's given up the season. And yeah, man.
No, you know what? I'll just speak on Chelsea real quick. My biggest issue with the team is obviously, I called it at the beginning of the season. We were running rampant. It looked like we were gonna put through a proper title challenge, and then we lost our fullbacks to injury, and everything went to shit. And I'd been saying, even with the games that we were winning comfortably, I'm like, dude, the majority of our goals are coming from our defenders. That is a big problem. Because if you remove said defenders, then we're screwed. And guess what happened? Our defenders got injured and we were screwed. If you look on our record, we haven't really lost too many games. But the problem is we had draw after draw after draw, especially that December period. It was peak. That's when we lost the title.
Lukaku was macking on Inter.
Exactly. When he was busy blowing kisses at Inter Milan, like that whole period was a nightmare. So I think Tuchel needs to come back. And there's too many people who just think Tuchel, Chelsea fans who think Tuchel is untouchable. And I'm like, listen, our whole history as a club, right, the last 20 years has been, if you fuck around, we show you the door. I don't want to hear this nonsense of, no, if you think Tuchel's not the man, you're not a Chelsea fan. If you think Tuchel's here to stay no matter what, you are not a Chelsea fan.
I think that's
not how we operate.
Dog. Like,
we show people the door.
The new owners, I think the new owners will change that. I think the approach, the Abramovich approach was,
I don't think they'll be like
commendable
Roman.
in the sense that it was ruthless, right? It's not winning, change it until we win, right? Doesn't matter.
He made Chelsea the most successful British club in history. From 2000 onwards.
And he's like, the
last 20 years, no one's been more successful.
And he was like, even if we're running at a financial loss, it doesn't matter. We just need to win. So now you got American owners who have a different approach. Liverpool, United fans and Arsenal fans will tell you, Wooty, American owners are the worst. They're good in a traditional sense, but when it now comes to...
Apparently they put in the Glazer clause. I don't know how true that is. But let's see. Let's see how things go. Fingers crossed. Angima Zibilu Upoli or Burley, whatever you say his name. I don't know much about him. I'm just hoping that they invest in the club, new stadium. I hope things go well for Chelsea. But from a team perspective, I personally, I would make sure Tuchel knows that, listen, bruh, this is not just your Msebenzi for time and time. These results, at the end of the day, you can't sell a whole team of players, right? So right or wrong, the coach sometimes just has to go. If you are not the man to talk to these players and these are the players that we have, then we have to find someone who can speak to these players, because there will be someone who will be able to speak to these players and get the best out of them. And if it's not you, we'll find someone who can. I think it's really that simple at the end of the day. So I think if he gets things right over the summer, I think we'll definitely be very, very successful next season. But quick shout out to let me quickly check what's going on in the fantasy league. See who's winning 6 foot weights league. Hey, shout out to Ropa.
I haven't checked this.
She has built herself quite the lead. She has built herself quite the lead at the top of the log. She's been a consistent performer. If you perform like this within your mjolo, you'd be in a good place, but it is. Just joking. But anyway, shout out to you. You've literally been leading this from time, bro, from time. So if you want to know how to, do good on your fantasy team, Ropa, that's the person to talk to. Because clearly, I don't know if she does analytics or what. We are lower asquas, but hey, man, you're killing it. And then Utogo's 6th. He's been hanging around there. He dropped from 5th actually. So shout out to Utogo. And then who else? The Panache at number 10. Fezzi at number 12. Oh, this is pretty, Oh shit. Okay. I mean, I'm up to number 18. Okay. It's not bad. Where is Mr. Moore?
Not too
21.
far behind you.
Actually, shout out, special mention. Ayanda is off the bottom. She said, no, I will not anchor. So she's number 29. She's no longer number 32. So shout out to Ayanda for, the name of her team is Basela FC. I'm Basela Simi. The jokes write themselves. And Connery, bro. Connery is 25th. Shit. You, stick to cricket, my guy. But Yeah, I know. Anyway, that's the league. We'll do a final wrap up at the end of the season and award. I guess Ropa. I don't know. We'll talk about what we want to award Ropa, right? Maybe a guest appearance or something like that. We'll see, because obviously she's got actually hella stories there. There's stories to talk about.
Too many.
Right, enthusiasm. This is the. I don't know if you saw this, bro, but me personally, when we got this Siyazama, I died, bro. Like, I literally burst out laughing.
Yeah.
Scared the hell out of my wife. So this gent has a question for us. Anyway, guys, so we're in Siyazama. This is the part of the show where you can ask us any questions, ask the 6 Foot Weight community any questions, any points of order. Come to the DM, tell us all about it. You can email us at 6footweights@gmail.com or add us at 6footweights. And yeah, we'll be happy to chat.
Okay.
So it goes, hi gents. First of all, congratulations to Tabo for saying the big I do. Thank you, my brother. I wish you all the best on the journey that you started. Definitely appreciate that. Secondly, I want to know, he says it's a bit late. Yes, it's fine. This was sent like just after we recorded last week. But what's your take on rounds as friendship rounds as friends just to qinisa the friendship?
Just to qinisa the friendship.
Just to qinisa the friendship. Mr. Boy, what do you think? I think this is your studio.
No.
Yeah, yes, definitely.
Nah.
Oh man.
Can I say something? There's a difference between
Please.
Friends.
The space is yours.
Who are friends with benefits, right? And friends who end up doing the things. Do you get what I mean? Right.
Okay.
So
yes,
you've got people who are friends solely because they give each other benefits. Those things, I'm sure they happen. I think if managed properly, they can work. That's my opinion, right? Now, look what this man has suggested. I think he wants to existing friends and recruit them to be qinisa the friendship rounds for no, that's not going to work.
What do you mean?
No, that's it's different from the other friends with benefits.
You've never had a homie and then
my current girlfriend, but because I think I won't say it was a mistake. Homies, we bumped into each other in the streets. We're like, my guy, is this you? Like, is this you? Like, okay. Okay. So
no, not like
there
that.
There was
You're talking about
there.
This is a homie that you actually hang with.
No,
I'm talking about a homie that you actually hang with.
No.
And then it's like, I think that's the question that he's asking. Not Uti, we went to uni together. No.
Proper
not
homie civili.
Like, this is
says no.
Yeah, we're homies. I'll see you occasionally, at a braai, and this is like, like we have a proper talking relationship.
That can't work.
Oh, cool.
It can't work.
Why not?
Because
why not?
Obviously, as your friend, you love them, right? I'd like to think so. Throw rounds into it, you are definitely going to catch feelings.
I don't think so. I feel like, it also lends itself to those people who say men and women can't be friends, right? And what Chris Rock said, Oguti, men don't have female friends, just have
you haven't.
People hands that you haven't, fucked. So if you're of that particular school of thought, then you can have rounds to qinisa your friendship. I know of.
You said when you don't believe.
I'd say I've been in those situations.
You said you don't believe in like platonic, in friends with benefits, right? To start with, how can you think it can? Yes.
No, did I say that?
Where's the chat?
When did I say I don't
when we
believe in
started
benefits?
this podcast, and I was saying it can work, and you were saying no, sebenzi, blah blah blah, and I was like, no.
No, we were talking about besties. Senna. That's you. That's your.
No,
chat.
we had
the bestie social. That's
no,
the hill you
we had a whole
decided
we had
to
a
die
whole
on.
chat
Not
about friends benefits, and I was like, no, it can go on, and you're like, nah, it can't. People catch feelings, blah blah blah, and I'm like, no, dog, it's a thing.
Okay. I mean,
It'll be in the very first episode of 2020, I think.
if it's a one-time thing, then yes. But the problem is, if it's a one-time thing and those rounds were fire, then it's highly unlikely that it will stay a one-time thing, because you're thinking about the rounds, she's thinking about the rounds, then y'all text like, oh man, those rounds were fire.
Thing were at a buy and people
those rounds were slapping, you know. Exactly. So I mean, it is a slippery slope. Because now you'll find yourself in a situation where you really didn't want to go there, but you know, because of so I think I'll stick with, you know, do not recommend 1 star, just because, again, I think in both scenarios, if the rounds are fire, that's a problem. If the rounds are whack, that's another problem. Because
no, but then the thing is,
now you're looking at each other.
To be
you
honest,
know, it's like right, you had
irrespective of whether or not the rounds are fire. If you people are friends who hang out from time to time and spend a lot of time together, it's going to become a more frequent thing. Because once you've done it once, trust me, it's not going to be hard to do it again.
Yeah. And then also once it stops for whatever reason, you know, there'll be a person who'll feel jealous. Exactly. You know, it'll just become a whole production. It'll just become, which is why I always say, someone always catches feelings, no matter what. Even if nobody smashed anyone, right? And a guy and a girl are quote unquote besties. In my opinion, there is someone, one of the two. It's hardly ever 2 of 2, right? But I guaranteed on my bottom dollar, one of the two, who is masking their feelings. And they're just like, you know what? Senna will never be in a relationship with me, but the best I can get out of the situation is to be Senna's friend. Because I know he'll care about me, right? Even if it's not the way that I want him to care about me, I'll still take the victory. That's my thought at the end of the day.
We'll keep it there. I still disagree. I think besties are a thing. Don't chow your besties. Don't finish the friendship fast.
So that I've told you, I believe you 100% with you don't have feelings for anyone who you call a bestie, but can't say the same for the other side. You cannot guarantee it yourself. It's not, you can't prove it. You know, no one can prove it, right? But anyway, today was a lot. We covered a lot of things. We had wholesome conversations. We had not so wholesome conversations. But that's why you come, you know, back. Yeah, no, we'll clang it. This week we gave you everything. There's sports, you know, everything. Senna told you that he got married in secret. Like it was a whole episode, you know, this week. I think this week we was cooking, bro.
No, we give him. It was a good one.
Yeah, and Kaza, Mr. Boy. That's all I can say. And no, it's fine. No, it's a compliment. Okay. It's a compliment.
Right. No.
You know, love you, dog. You're good.
Okay.
You're good. Yeah. No, we're good. Next week, big episode. Should we tell the people who's pulling up or surprise?
We can tell. Should we tell them? Then they look forward to it, and then they actually make an effort to listen to next week's episode.
They always make an effort. Don't say that about.
Okay, then we can just keep them.
But
it's all good.
No, actually, let's ruin the surprise. You can essentially, the podcast is done, so you can jump off now if you now turned in Dawa, stay. I think that's the easiest way to put it. But yeah, next week we will have Uncle Kandizu, King Kandoro will be back, second appearance on the pod. there's some issues that, and I told him personally, I need to discuss with him. I believe that my ghetto youths are being, hoodwinked, bamboozled, led astray, ran amok, because said individual is no longer a member of the ghetto youths. And he said it himself. He came to Dubai. He admitted it to me and my Dubai people. Exactly. So we need to have that conversation with him. Yeah, I don't know. Well, next week, so he needs to prepare himself. So those who are his friends who listen to this podcast, in general, to know, listen, he's walking into a very difficult situation on 6 foot weights next week, and the ghetto youths are listening. They're going to be there next week to listen to his explanation as to, how he can claim to be one of the people. He's essentially, and he always does a maskitsaki, making fun of the government, right? The officer Ololus, the guys who are taking bribes and whatnot. But he's essentially become the same person. He's like, no, guys, me, I'm with you. I'm with you in the struggle. I'm with you guys. Sisonke. And then he's like, but I'm with you from the UK, innit?
With you from a distance.
From a distance, he said, no, remote. I'm a remote ghetto youth.
Ghetto youth by correspondence.
Exactly. He's like, can you see my screen?
Yeah.
Anyway, right, Mr. Moyo. It's another week. Apologies to Lindo. You had to sit through a long listen through, but actually no apologies, Lindo. You I know you'll be cracking the fuck up listening to this item and editing it. So it's worth it. It's worth it. Mr. Moyo, I see Vale. Guys, as you know, like the ting, retweet the ting, subscribe to the ting, or else we are inclined to believe that you are a hater. Mr. Moyo,
laters.